Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Cameron Bailey. I'm the artistic director here at TIFF. I'm glad to see all of you here for the world premiere of the new film by Michael Winterbottom, The Wedding Guest. With a killer cast, Dev Patel and Radhika Apte. Yes. To begin, we'd like to acknowledge the land that we're all on today. This is the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and Huron-Wendat First Nations. They have been looking after this land for thousands of years, and we thank them for sharing it with us. A reminder, this film is eligible for the Grolsch People's Choice Award. You know how that works. You decide which film wins the People's Choice Award. You can do it by going online to tiff.net/vote and vote for the films of your choice. Not during a movie, though. Just make sure you do it after. Big thanks to United Talent Agency, UTA, Endeavour Content, and the British Council for their support, and UTA and Endeavour for providing us with the film today. And we are so pleased to have Michael back. Michael has been bringing films to you, to the audience in Toronto, for many, many years. He is, I think, one of the most remarkable and versatile filmmakers working. Among the films of his that have screened here at the festival include Jude, back in 1996, Wonderland, In This World, a very important film when it came out in 2002, shortly after 9/11, Tristram Shandy, A Cock and Bull Story, a rare filmmaker who dared to take on that adaptation. A Summer in Genoa in 2008, The Trip in 2010, and he's back again with The Wedding Guest. You know, I suspect that Michael thinks in cinema. He's able to shift from comedy to drama to suspense. He's able to be a political filmmaker, a humane filmmaker, an observational filmmaker. His films look effortless, but it's clear that that only happens when you're completely fluent in the language of film and you can use it to whatever means you choose. He's here to introduce the film to you. Please join me in welcoming the director of The Wedding Guest, Michael Winterbottom.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd just like to thank Cameron and the festival for inviting this film here. It's always an honor and a pleasure. I also want to just take the chance to give a personal thank you to Piers Handling. Cameron told me that he's leaving the festival. I think the first year I came was 1994, which might have been Piers' first year as head of the festival. And since then, as Cameron said, that they've been kind enough to invite me back many times. And it's always a real pleasure to come here, not only because the audiences are so great, but because Cameron and Piers and everyone working at the festival is so warm and enthusiastic and really committed to cinema. So thank you, Piers. I'd also like to thank Sony and Ingenious and Riverstone and Revolution Films, everyone there that helped make this film. And I've got quite a few people who worked on it with us here. So I'd like to introduce the producers, Deepak Nayar, Nick Bauer, Pranav Sani, Sam Sani, Anthony Wilcox, Melissa Parmenter. I think our cinematographer should be here somewhere, but he's not. I don't know where he is. Is Giles in the house? Is Giles here somewhere? There you are. You're supposed to be on stage, Giles. Giles is our cinematographer. He'll come on stage afterwards. You can come on stage afterwards. And also, very happy to say we have the two stars of the film here. Radhika Apte. And Dev Patel. Okay, I think we're coming.
Actors Dev Patel, Radhika Apte, and cinematographer Giles Nutchins. Fantastic work, all of you. Michael, congratulations. Congratulations, Radhika and Dev and Giles as well. Yeah, go ahead. You know, there's so many different ways you could go with a story like this. It could have been a social drama, it could have been about the issue of arranged marriages, or, you know, all of these kinds of things. But you made a thriller, you made it hot, and I wonder how you decided on the tone and the approach you wanted to take to the story.
The starting point, to be honest, was the village in the Punjab in Pakistan. I went there a long time ago with 3 guys from Britain who'd ended up in Guantanamo, and we went back because we took 2 of them back because the third friend was getting married in this little village. So that was the starting point. And it seemed like a great location, a great kind of a sort of small town, which to me seemed in the middle of nowhere because I come from a long way, and was just, you know, kind of interesting feeling. And going with people who were connected to that place culturally, but not from that place, just seemed like a good starting point for a film. Then after that, it was just a bit potluck from that point on.
You know, I said it was hot. I don't want to impose that reaction on everybody. Maybe it was just me. Was it just me? No, I didn't think so. So, let me ask Dev, you and you, Radhika, about the chemistry between you in the film. What came from the script? How did you work out what your relationship would be? Because it changes a lot during the course of the story.
Oh, hot is not in my vocabulary. I get very nervous. My ears are stinging right now.
Dev, you're so hot.
Shut up. You know, it's really interesting because, I mean, Michael's such a chameleon in the work he does, and when he handed us the script, it was so sharp and slick, and it moved quickly, but it was also had these beautiful abstract moments. And talking to him on the phone, you know, the third character in the film, which is really these guys, is the way they captured India. That's a lot of right, yeah, really. And a big part of the process was taking us to and dropping us in these incredible visceral atmospheres, and me, Radhika, and the other character, India, kind of, you know, we kind of worked off each other, if that doesn't sound too cheesy. And, you know, Michael would do things like, I'd be like, okay, look over to Radhika now, and Radhika, you look away. And whilst doing it, we're like, I don't really know the power of this, but what he's seeing through Giles's lens is, you know, this amazing vista as rolling by on a train, and the subtext that you, as an audience, are putting onto that image. So I don't know if it was meant to be about being hot or what, but we've got somewhere. Words have come out of my mouth. But.
Radhika?
Oh, well, yeah, I just think that the way Michael works, and he sort of just makes you just be in that situation and be a part of that situation, like literally whatever the weather and the smells and everything around you just sort of becomes a part of what you are doing at the moment, and he captures very little small details while you're just there and not even aware that he's capturing them. And I think that's where for me, I think it's built, you know, on those sort of small moments. But yeah, I think that was the best experience, I think, working on this film, because we were actually doing that journey on the train for 8 hours, and you know, we did everything, we traveled with it, so it was a part of us, I think.
I fell asleep and woke up once, and he was still filming. So what? Remember that? Remember that?
Maybe there's an alternate cut we could see at some point. Giles, let me ask you about capturing these 2 actors, these characters, and also just working with Michael in India especially, because there are many ways, I think, to shoot India in a very kind of cliched way, but you found real texture, you found things that many other filmmakers coming in from abroad don't always do. Can you talk about how you work together on that?
Well, I probably managed to not do it in a cliched way because I'd done that a million times before, because I've shot about 7 films in India. No, so Michael's process is very, very... When I actually interviewed with Michael, 'cause Michael's got a bit of a reputation as slightly scary. And so when I interviewed with him and we talked about other stuff rather than the film, I was sort of quite surprised. And then sort of almost just after I accepted the job, and he said, oh, by the way, you realize we don't use lights. And so that was like a big shock for a DP. But it was part of the process of it being almost semi like a documentary. So it's that process of integrating yourself, not just with India, but between all of us, the fact that we're in this journey with them. And so as Michael cuts down, we have a very small crew. I don't know what we were, but we're a core crew of about 12 people. So as you cut all of that stuff away, you cut all the filters away, and you start to feel what's around you. Hopefully you start to form a relationship between all of us, but Michael controls what's going on in a very, very clear way. But it's like Dev said, that we'd turn up in the morning, we'd turn up in Paharganj in the street, and we'd sort of set up as quietly as possible so we could keep shooting, because it's very difficult in India, obviously, because everybody looks at the camera and there's millions of people around. And Dev would walk onto the set, and Michael would just say, roll. And Dev would be like, which scene is it? What am I supposed to be doing? And he said, and you just have to carry on with it. And after a while, that becomes a process. So the process starts to indicate what you're actually going to be able to get. And of course, the element of India was possible because we shot in that way. And that's why, for all of us, it was, and I say I shot there a lot, but it was a completely integrated experience. Not quite, I can't say it's an existential experience, because when you're working in the village, one of the scene where Dev's in the car was the local toilet, where he's preparing the car and he's thinking about, in a very sublime way, before he goes and takes Radhika.
I didn't know that.
But
Thanks for telling me that.
yeah, that was the local toilet, and half the crew just thought it was dogs, but it wasn't. So you have a level of integration which I think lends something to the film in the end.
We have some time for your questions, if you have any, for Michael or anyone up on stage. Curious to hear your thoughts and questions for the film. Yes, we'll start right here.
Yes, I just want to say amazing performances. Congratulations. I think your film is going to be very well received, but my question is for Michael. Can you speak a little bit about the score? It was found it haunting and thrilling and all of those things.
The question is about the score in the film.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning it. It's done by Harry Escott, and he did a great job, I think. We've worked with him a few times before, and obviously there's a lot of music in the film. I think in any kind of road movie, the music does a lot of work, because as you're traveling along, you can put on any different mood or atmosphere on it. And he worked incredibly hard. We finished the music quite recently, so he was working on it a long time, but he did a great job. So I'm glad you like it.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody up in the balcony who's got a question? Yes, I think I see a hand right here.
My question is for Radhika. The character of Samira, at the end, she decides to leave. And I was just curious, was there a specific thing that happened in the relationship that made Samira want to leave what seemed like a kind of blissful life they were living together?
Yeah, Radhika.
The question is... he still
Messed
hasn't
it up
gotten
for
over
everyone.
it. The question is about why does your character leave? Was there a specific thing that made her leave?
Dev made me. No, I think we've purposely avoided giving that specific moment in the film for why she leaves, or when does she decide that, or what is exactly going on in her mind. And I don't know. Are you asking me why she left? I think, well, I wish,
We're
but
very close to therapy.
Can I jump
right
in there
now.
too?
I think, yeah.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You go.
But like, it's interesting because there's a line she says about being like a piece of luggage, right?
Yeah.
You go for it. It's your character. Oh yeah.
No,
Oh yeah.
I'm listening to you.
But there's obviously alluded to that there's a kind of overbearing presence from her father. Thus, she's forced into a marriage in the outskirts of Pakistan. And then there's another gentleman who likes her to his fancy, and then when it all goes wrong, he wants to throw her away. And then there's another man who doesn't show her the truth that she needs in that moment when she asks him his name. It's very delicate, but the idea is, in that, I think, between that stage, she decides to take her life into her own hands and be a free woman. I think that's what we wanted, you know, at the end, is her to go off on her own journey. You know,
I
at the end
think,
of that.
yeah. I think one of the most important moments in the film for me is when she asks him what your real name is, and he doesn't really tell her. So it is her search for freedom and identity. I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Good question.
All right, time for one or two more questions. So is there someone else up here? Yes, in the back. Go ahead.
It's a wonderful love letter to India. It feels like the actor, maybe a lot of us feel like we want to travel there and see more of it. I was wondering how you arrived at the decision to select each location. Was it pre-planned, or did you let the mood take you while you were down there?
The question is about the setting in India, wonderful love letter to the country, and how did you decide on the locations? Were they pre-planned, or did you just find them as you went?
To be honest, when I was writing the script, I was just very lazy and just put in all the places we'd already filmed in before. So it's so it's really just, they're the 4 places I know in India. That was it, really.
The mysteries of filmmaking. All right, anyone else down here's got a comment or a question? Yes, go ahead. Can you say a little louder, please?
Yes. I'm not
The question,
sure.
the question is about the cremation and why you left the face uncovered.
I think probably it was an attempt to sort of remind you that it was him in a way, that, you know, that we were with him, and it was like, so the idea was it was more in the practical thing of wrapping up it hadn't covered. But I mean, I suppose, you know, to be honest, it's like that feeling when he's being dragged across, that you're reminded of what's happened. You know, the idea was that, we try and get a sense of the stress of trying to sort out the physical reality of it, and the sort of emotional reality of trying to sort out what to do about this thing. You know, that Dev's character starts off with a plan, and does the plan very well. It's all very organised until Deepesh kind of messes him around by not being there. Then after that, Dev's character is really trying to just sort of chase the game, and he's always one behind. And so suddenly, when he kills him, he's then got the hassle of getting rid of the body and the physical reality of that. And I suppose we thought that if you saw the face, that would make that have more impact than if it was just dragging a sort of kind of.
It's messed up. It's messed up in the head.
All right, we're almost out of time. Is there any last question? Yes, right back here. Go ahead. Okay, there's a professional back here who wants to know why your character accepted such a low
Spoken like
price.
a true Indian. Speaking of my contract, Michael.
Yeah, it was a low-budget film. I think that was it.
Everything had to be low budget, man.
The question was, why did he accept such little money for the job?
Well, that was his circumstances, really. You know that he's not a very wealthy man, so we don't allude to his backstory too. That's a conscious decision, but he's obviously a brooding man, and he needs that money.
All right, thank you. We are going to have to leave it there. Please join me in thanking Giles Nutchins, Dev Patel, Radhika Apte, Michael Winterbottom. Thank you.